Do you ever feel like you have a hard time touching your toes? Is getting up and down off of the floor difficult for you? Are you new to yoga, but you think there's just no way, I'm too inflexible to practice yoga? This gentle yoga for beginners, 20-minute home practice is for you. Let's begin. For today's practice, a few things you might want to use and need: a strap, yoga blocks, yoga blanket, a chair, a pillow and or a bolster of sorts. And none of these are mandatory, but you might find that you like using them. First thing, come over to a wall, place your hands on the wall, lean your body weight a little bit in, push down, lift your heels up, work the strength of your ankles and calves by doing some heel lifts. Lean in, press, lift up, lower back down. Do this several times, do a good 5 to 10 times. Lean in, press, lift, and lower down. Now, come down onto your hands and knees. We're going to practice a pose called puppy dog. Curl your toes under. A great way to stretch and open up your ankle and toe joints is to drop your hips toward your heels, to relax your arms on the floor, and to drop your head down toward the ground. If it's too much for you to put that much pressure into the bend of the knees, what you can do is just start real slow and steady, rock your weight back a little bit. The main idea is to really try to get the toes to curl under. Once you're able to get down to the puppy dog, hold for a couple breaths and stretch and loosen up your hips, your toes, and your lower back. If you're having a hard time getting down on the floor, getting up off of the floor, one thing you can do is come into a comfortable position on a chair and work on pulling one knee up toward one shoulder. You can reverse and you can pull the other knee up to the shoulder. This is a great way to work the flexion of the knee joints. So you pull in, you get a nice little stretch, and you do right and left equal amount of times for the same amount of time on both sides. Another really great pose for opening up your knee flexibility is called child's pose. So if you have the ability to come down on your hands and knees, point your feet. Slowly begin to drop your hips back towards your heels and bring your forehead down to the floor. If this is really challenging for you, what I want you to do is rest on your elbows so your hips are in the air above your knees. Slowly try to bring your hips back towards your heels. If you can rest your forehead down to the floor with your hips on the heels, just keep your arms above your head. There is the alternate version where you can relax your arms down beside your body. However, taking your arms above your head is a good way to monitor the amount of pressure that you put on your knees. Go slow, go gentle, there's no hurry, just take your time. Little by little, your knees are opening up. Another thing you can do if your ankles are really tight is take a cushion or a blanket rolled up, a pillow, and put it underneath your ankles. If you have a really hard time with pointing the toes, then put something under the front of your ankle joint so it'll soften the intensity of the pressure on the tops of the feet. By doing so, then when you come into the knee bend, you'll be able to sustain or manage the discomfort in your ankles. So find a way that you can do it that you can sustain and hold the pose, not put too much pressure, but just put just the right amount of pressure so that you feel something happening. The next position I'd like to demonstrate is what's called the hero pose or virasana. So this is where now we can take the element of the child's pose. If you have your knees and feet relatively close together with the toes pointing, we attempt to sit with the hips on the heels to put strong pressure on the knees. This is not for everybody, so a couple things you can do is you can utilize a block. So you can take the block, you can place it underneath your hips. I'm going to turn it kind of wide across so that both of my sit bones, my ischial tuberosities, are able to rest onto the block. And this way it'll take pressure off of the knees and give you a little bit of support. So using the block is a great way to approach the virasana or hero pose to start to flex and open up your knees. Another option when learning virasana is to take a bolster. This one's great because what you can do is you can put the bolster so that you're able to sit right on top of it. So kind of similar to like a horse saddle, Basically, you just rest your hips onto the bolster. This gives you a ton of support, allows for your knees to bend, your ankles can stretch because your toes are pointed, and you can practice holding here. What we always want to do when we take a seated position is we're going to try to keep the spine nice and tall. So instead of slouching into the back, or we don't need to turn it into a back bend, but what we do want to do is draw the belly in, sit up nice and straight. Continue to apply some pressure onto your knees in one of these positions to see which one is appropriate for you. So far, we've worked opening the ankles and the knees. Now we're going to move to the hips. To work on opening the hips, come down onto your hands and your knees. We're going to work a classic lunge position. First, bring your right foot forward, land your left knee on the floor, and work on lunge forward into the bend of your right knee. Once you've established the ability to keep your heel on the ground and create a deep lunge stretch into the right side, we're going to reverse to the other side. So you bring your right leg back, your left foot forward, and we'll practice the same work here. Again, measure the correct distance from your foot to your back knee so that if it is too far back and your heel comes up, make sure you bring your foot a little more forward. If you have a hard time getting your hands on the floor, put the hand up on the knee so you can monitor and find an appropriate level of depth here. One more hip opening pose called Malasana. We're going to work on the deep squat. Let me give you a couple of options that make this a lot easier. One way to work Malasana, sit in a chair, feet flat on the floor comfortably, land your elbows on your knees, and first start to work the ability to lean your upper body forward, stretching into the hips, stretch and release your back. This can be done in a chair, and just practice stretching and releasing your lower back. If you're able to relax your arms down around the sides of the knees, relax your arms, relax your head, and begin to work the Malasana garland pose, the squat pose, from a seated chair position. The second way that I want to show you how to work with Malasana is to take some cushions. I've built this up 2 cushions high, so you could take as many as you need. Okay, so what we're going to do now is sit on top of the cushions. This way, we are a little lower than we were previously in the chair. Separate your feet, give a little turn of your toes out, kind of like you're in duck foot position, and practice lean your body forward in through your legs. Having the hips up will make it possible for you to start to get your feet flat down onto the floor. Bring the heels in as close as possible towards your hips, and then again, rock the weight forward and start to put some pressure into your ankles and Achilles tendons. This is a good way to start to build up to being able to sustain holding the Malasana position. All right, so far we've worked on strengthening and stretching the ankles, opening up the flexibility of the knees, targeting stretching the hips. Now we're going to go into spinal movement. Next, we're going to work what is called spinal movement, and so therefore we have lateral flexion. Lateral flexion is side bending the body. I want you to start by standing with your feet about hip width apart. First, try to raise both arms above your head, turning the palms toward each other. Now relax your left arm, place your left hand on your hip. Reach up through your right arm, press your hips over to the right, and extend through your right arm above your head. When you side body bend, try to keep your chest in the same line so that when you side bend, you don't lean forward or you don't push your hips forward and lean to the side. We're going to try to keep our shoulders directly above the hips when we side bend. So first we'll do the right side where you raise your right arm up, you keep your left hand on your hip, you reach as high as you can and focus on lengthening out the section between your rib cage and your side hip. Let's try the other side. Take your left arm up and release your right hand down. Place your right hand on your hip, press your hips to the left. With your left arm, reach above your head and extend and open up through your left side body. Once you've completed this, come back to the standing position, raise both arms above your head, and relax the both arms down beside your body. Now we're going to practice a backward bend, and while you're holding the back bend, remember to keep your eyes open. All right, so that's why you're going to maintain your balance. Let your feet be about hip width apart. Place your hands onto your lower back. Lift your rib cage up. Press your hips and thighs forward. If it's comfortable for you to relax your head back, this is where it's important that you keep your eyes open so that you maintain your balance. The main idea, gently press your hips forward of your heels, draw your belly in and try to lift your rib cage up away from your pelvis. When you go to come back out of it, pull your hips back again and relax your arms and come into your neutral standing position with your feet hip width apart. Now we're going to work with a forward flex of the spine. If you bend your knees and put your hands on your knees, you can begin here. If you're able to come all the way down with your elbows on your knees, work a little bit of squat position, but rest the body down against your legs. So your legs are supporting you, not just your back. Some of you eventually will be able to fold all the way forward and allow your spine to go into a state of flexion. However, we don't need to hurry the process. Remember, rest your elbows or your hands on your knees and just practice letting your body, letting your spine flex in this position. When you've completed the forward folding stretch, make your way back up into a standing position, nice and tall. We're going to focus on some spine strengthening. Come down onto your yoga mat, land your belly down onto the mat. Straighten your legs, point your toes, take your hands underneath your shoulders. Draw your elbows in, touch your chin to the floor. Now work the squeeze of your legs, lift your chin, lift your chest, and actively press the front of your thighs down into the floor. Draw your elbows in, engage your back, and lift your chin up. And slowly lower down out of the cobra pose so that you can start to work building some back strength. Here are a couple of options if sitting cross-legged on the floor is difficult. One, take a block, place it on your mat, lift, sit on top of block, allow cross-legged position to elevate your hips, and this will make it a little more comfortable to relax the knees down. Two, you can take something much larger like a bolster. You place it up against the wall. You come up onto the bolster. You lean your back against the wall. You put something soft underneath your ankles. You draw your legs in, relax your hands on your knees, and just start working into the ability to sit with ease in the Sukhasana, easy pose. Another way that we're going to work doing a little bit of spine twisting is that if you can come down into a cross-legged seated position, place your left hand on your right knee, place your right hand on the floor behind you, sit up really tall with your spine. Really draw your belly in, sit tall, and draw your right shoulder back. We'll twist to the right, and then we'll repeat the other side. Place your right hand on your left knee, take your left hand on the floor behind you. Sit up nice and tall, and twist to the left. Work both rotations for equal amount of time. This way, another option of how to do some spinal rotation. Now we've covered the ankles, the knees, the hips, spinal movement. We're going to do a few stretches for the shoulders. All right, so I have a chair set up. And what you can do is you can come down. I'm going to do this on the knees, so I'm nice and close to you. But if you are wanting to stand up, that works just as great. What you can do is put your hands onto the back of a chair from a kneeling position and just practice letting your body hang and stretch your shoulders in what's called flexion. When the arm comes forward, that's flexion motion. This can be done on a countertop. It can be done against a ballet bar. It can be done with a chair. It can be done holding onto a table. And then again, of course, you do have the option of doing from a standing position as well, where you can drop your head down through and really work opening up your shoulder joints. Don't worry about how far you go. If you start and your hands are just here in front of you, you just slowly work on dropping down a little bit. Also, you can bend your elbows and or practice with straight arms. There's so many options here, but this feels amazing for the shoulder joints. You'll love this one. Next up, we're going to work a little bit more rotational ability in the shoulders with a classic position called cow face pose arms or Gomukhasana arms. So what that means is first, take your right arm above your head, take your left hand, grab a hold of your right elbow, and gently stretch your arm towards your right ear. See if you can relax the right hand, the hand that's the right arm, bending hand on your back, and drop that down between your shoulder blades as close as you can. With your left arm, I'm going to turn in a moment to show you all this from another angle, but take your arm and bend your elbow and bring it behind the back. Now what can be done, I'm going to turn my back to you so it'll be easy for you to see, is grab a hold of a yoga strap with your right arm, take your arm behind your head, take your left arm behind the back, try grab the strap. Now see how high up or how close can you get the hands together behind you. Eventually you won't need the strap and you can utilize your fingers. However, in the beginning, grab a hold of the strap so that you can work your shoulders in a stretch position where this right shoulder is external rotation, the left shoulder is internal rotation. And remember, only do as much as feels comfortable. Don't force it. Now to practice the left side, bring your left arm above your head, take your right hand, grab your left elbow, and gently draw down. Take your right arm behind your back, see if you can connect your hands together. Otherwise, grab the strap, hold with your left hand, drop the strap down the middle of your back. Take your right arm, go from behind, connect your hands together. Work here to stretching your shoulders and breathe deeply in and out of your nose. Practice breathing in and out steadily while you hold in each and every pose. We're going to release, let go of the grip, and release your left arm down. And your shoulders now are super flexible. So far we've worked the ankles, the knees, the hips, the spine, the shoulders. Now it's time for the elbows and the wrists. So we're going to start off with the cow-cat pose. You come down onto your hands and knees. What's really important is separate your fingers and get a nice good firm contact of the palm surface against the floor. What I want you to try to do with the cow pose is to align your shoulders above your wrists, drop your belly down and lift your head up. And with the cat pose, drop your head and round your spine. What we're doing here is applying a little bit of pressure onto the wrist joints while working some of the spinal flexion motion to develop also range of motion in the shoulders, the connectivity of the arms to the hands and the floor. So as you work in the cow pose and extend the spine, head up, exhale, drop your head down and round your spine. Apply a little pressure into the arms, and this is going to help to get your forearms and your wrists really healthy and strong. All right, we made it all the way around the body. Thank you for joining me on this journey. We went the ankles, we opened the knees, we stretched the hips, we worked the spine, we targeted the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists. Now we're going to focus on the neck and the head. So first, we're going to work a couple of neck movements. Flexion is where you drop your chin down towards your throat. Come back to neutral. Extension is where you relax your head and look up. Come back to neutral. Take your right ear towards your right shoulder, stretching the left side, neck and upper trapezius. Come back to neutral. Relax your left ear over towards your left shoulder, stretching and loosening up your right side trapezius. Come back to neutral. Turn your head to the right side, turning your chin to the right shoulder, look over the right. Come back to neutral. Turn your head to the left side, chin over the left shoulder, look over your left. Come back to neutral. Repeat this several times, about 3 to 5 times, working flexion, extension, lateral flexion to both sides, rotation, right and left. And in doing so, you can work on increasing the flexibility of your neck. Remember, if you enjoyed what you saw in this video today, please hit the subscribe button. We'd love it. And also hit the bell to be notified every time I release a new yoga video for you. One thing I hear all the time is that I'm inflexible, I can't do yoga, or I'm too old, I can't do yoga, or I just don't feel good enough to do yoga. It's not true. You can do yoga, and the purpose of this video, I hope you enjoyed, was to figure out ways to slowly, gradually work into the body. What's important here at the end is to practice a little bit of seated meditation. Allow for your body to just sit upright, drop your chin a little down towards your throat. Remember, this can be done sitting in a chair. You do not have to sit on the floor. And the idea really is to be comfortable. If you can sit up nice and tall, draw your belly in, relax your chin down, relax your arms onto the knees. You can use Jnana Mudra, which is where you touch your thumb and index fingertips together and rest your arms onto your knees. Totally optional. If you prefer to have your hands on your knees relaxed or interlace your fingers, all of these are great options. And yoga definitely helps to loosen the body, which is amazing, but really the deep level of yoga is to focus on your breathing and to build into a meditation practice. So at the end of your asana and or posture practice, remember to take a moment, sit in silence, practice holding, nice tall spine, and thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. If you feel like you need a little inspiration and or a little push, remember to check in the description below. There's a link for you to join for 2 weeks free unlimited live stream yoga. Also look for the nativeyogaonline.com where you can find classes where I'll lead you through the series in a flowing fashion to help you integrate all the principles that we worked on today. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you soon.